let off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed. Napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kaze are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Dean are all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, restarting now, regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do. They're side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate Case across the line.
Gillish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
And hello viewers, and welcome to round 4 of the MSR Copa Montana Championship. As always, joined by WMDR Martin.
Greetings.
And you join us on quite a damp track with some very overcast conditions. The track, as this qualifying goes, will definitely be will definitely get better as the track will start to get less wet and greasy, or should I say moist. So hopefully as this event goes on, we will definitely see some, well, we will 100% see some faster times. I think at the start of this qualifying event, the track was absolutely littered. I think I saw spray from every single car. Now there is already a dry line forming and we have 12 minutes left of qualifying.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like there's some significant trains starting to form now. If we go on to the roof cam of Binding here, currently in P5. Ultimate Case has just picked Eddie for a provisional pole. Now Andrew in second place by 1/10. The current provisional pole is just 54.3 seconds. I think slipstream is going to be a very determining factor here as well. You can see, I think, pretty much half the lobby, if not more, all on this stretch of track. You don't really want to be the car who's leading all of that.
I think that's Eddie just leading it, if not Xavius.
Ooh, if Warlord finishes this lap with that sort of sector time, he will be taking over provisional pole from Keza. One corner left to go. So he comes across the line to improve his lap time, but Keza right behind improves it by even more. Eddie with no slipstream goes to second place as well. So clearly slipstream's not all of it, but definitely still plays a role. Everyone now in the sub 1 minute lap times.
I think this would probably be, well, one of the most slipstream like events where we haven't had a private qualifying, because I mean, it just, I would classify this as 5, maybe 4 corners, and all being right hand corners. I mean, you got turn 1, then turn 1 is also a bit of turn 2, then you got a little bit of a kink. After that, that's turn 3, and then the final 2 corners literally at the end of the straight, which you can also classify as 1 corner. But it's going to be very, very... I don't know if the tyres are going to get cold, but all I know is Ultimate Case has set a new fastest lap just ahead of Eddie again, who had improved. Ultimate Case just holding on to his pole position at the moment.
Yeah, you can see here, this turn 2, much more of a corner than it looks like on the minimap. easy flat in most conditions. We'll have to wait and see if that will still be the case in race 2, because there are 2 races tonight, of course, for those just joining us. And that one will have some slightly wetter conditions than this, so we'll have to wait and see what kinds of tires people will be on, if they even pit at all. Pit stops a little bit less common now in this series compared to previous seasons where it was just one longer race. A lot less management here, as Eddie and Kay's are once again trading pole positions, but Warlord takes it for now with 9 minutes left on the clock. Less than a tenth separating the top 3.
Yeah, and P4 and 5 just 4 milliseconds away from each other as well. I mean, the field is incredibly close.
So we're on board with fellow commentator Kodiak down in 16th at the moment. Before the season, this might have been where you would expect him, but he's proved to be a bit faster than we all thought, as he doesn't immediately set a new time yet, but I am looking forward to him getting into the top 10 at some point here. There's once again at the bottom of the minimap, you can just see the amount of traffic going through those final corners now. Another improvement by Warlord, half a tenth ahead of Keza. The times keep dropping as the track keeps drying.
Yeah, very much a game of cat and mouse, especially with these conditions. As the conditions just get better and better, the track gets more rubbered in. People are going to set faster lap times, but people are also going to try and use each other for slipstream, whether they're teammates or not. So we might see some people tactically backing off, and some people just trying to go for it.
As we're on board with our P4 driver, currently Exevious 3.5 tenths behind provisional pole. Currently a tenth and a half up. That would be good enough to put him up to P3 if his rivals don't improve, but he goes off the track. So that lap time will be invalidated. It's ruined at the very least. Just behind, you can see Escher in some slipstream as well. Matt's now taking provisional pole, 51.9, 2 tenths ahead of Warlord. As the order keeps on shuffling.
As I believe the Kaiser fan base has also entered the chat, so they're going to be rooting for Ultimate Kaiser tonight, as he is doing good in P5. 3 tenths, or just less than 3 tenths behind Matt, who sets pole position. Only passed in the 51s currently, but the track absolutely has, well, barely any water left on it. As long as you can just find a good person to slipstream, or just find that extra grip somewhere. It could, oh, as I say that, Ultimate Kaiser taking pole away from his teammate Matt.
Yeah, just 4 milliseconds separating the pair of them. That's about as close as it gets. JD was briefly in P2, so that's a good performance from him. Now down to 4th, 2.5 tenths behind Kaze's pole time. 6 minutes left in the session. We saw Arid off in turn 1 earlier. I think Binding or Cuckoo might have been one of the ones that went off track there at the beginning of the session. As you can see, someone pulling over on the straight. Turn 1 does seem to be the most dangerous corner with this car track combo.
Yeah, I mean, most people, well, I think everyone is going to be running 0 downforce on their rear wing. So we could see that the fast right-hander into turn 1. As Mats improves, just taking it away from Kaiser, who also improved. Oh, Mats being hindered on his lap, but I think that was Warlord.
Matt's losing his wing as well. That's, I mean, we don't see too many reports for things that happen in qualifying, but if anything would qualify for that, I'd have to imagine Matt's not being very impressed by Warlord's move there, as he is currently still on provisional pole. 5 minutes left, definitely still time to get more laps in now that the track is drier. We do have multiple yellow flags around the track, but I think those are all being pretty much resolved. Yeah, I mean, it's just so many people going off on the outside. There's someone in the final corner as well. If you do end up going off, there is a high chance that you're going into the barrier, because usually it's going to be in one of the heavy braking zones, and there's not really a whole lot to stop you before you get to the walls. previously as well. Keza, I mean, he's been pipped by his teammate. Oh, and there goes another one off into turn one.
Eddie off into the background.
Yep, he's
Oh, can he get it
managed to
stopped before
keep
the
it.
barrier?
Just barely. Oh. So Eddie lives to fight another day on that set of tires. But I think Keza's previous fastest lap attempt there got a little hampered by the fact that he got too close to the car ahead and couldn't really push on the brakes as much as he would have liked compared to his teammate Mats, who might have had a slightly weaker slipstream from that far back, but he definitely had a bit more freedom in how he could use it. You can see P12 aired off again after turn one.
Yeah, turn one definitely difficult, as you said earlier. So whether that's going to come in as an equation in the first race, I'm not sure. In the second race, I definitely think some people are going to be getting caught out, that's for sure.
And it's interesting to see as well, some people still 1.7, 1.9 seconds behind provisional pole. It's a track with really only 2 or 3 corners. You wouldn't expect to see gaps that big around here. I wonder if some people have just gone the wrong way with their setups.
Yeah, potentially some people might have found just that extra element there. I mean, between P6 and P7, it's 2 tenths. So it's... who knows what some people have done. Maybe, well, we know that P1 and P2 have definitely shared their setups, that's for sure. The two teammates, I think 3 tenths ahead of Eddie. So they've clearly found something within the setup, but whether it's going to be consistent or not is another thing to concede entirely.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how close Jedlin and Xevious are in P10 and 11, separated by just 2 milliseconds, although the Delta says it was 1. You know, this game can never make up its mind when it comes to millisecond times. The gap, though, still 37 milliseconds between teammates Mats and Keza for provisional pole. 2 minutes and 12 seconds left on the timer. There's still all to play for. Go into turn one.
Brought a lot of drivers out, especially as soon as you go off wide where all the rain probably still is. And trouble, yeah, up by 2 tenths. This slipstream is going to be helping him quite a bit, but does he have the overspeed? In all matter of fact, is he going to have to lift off?
Oh, he's abandoned his lap. That's very interesting. I wonder if that was because he thought he was just going to get blocked, but even with that, he's still faster than his personal best, so despite abandoning the lap, he might have been able to gain a few more positions if he'd fully held on, but he's still weaving a bit as well. I'm guessing the tires are cold. And despite that horrendous final sector, does go up by more than a tenth. I was kind of thinking that the track conditions might have settled around about now because we're seeing fewer improvements. But that just goes to show there's still plenty of time to be found for some drivers. Matt's still in the pits. He will not be coming out to set any more laps. So Keza now the main challenger for pole position with P3 Eddie down in the box as well.
I think one thing for sure is that there isn't as a... I think trouble might have gone a bit deep there.
We're taking the wider line through the final corner, pushing it on the brakes. Is that going to cost him any exit speed? We're about to find out. He was a little over 1/10 up coming into the final corner, and he's lost just a couple of milliseconds there. It's has he overtaken Binding with that, or was he already ahead of him?
He has just overtaken Binding, so he has gained 1 position, but was so close to gaining another one, Xevious.
Keza here retiring from quali in P2, does not improve on his lap time. JD currently in 4th, goes wide and off the track. Oh, has he hit one of his competitors?
I think that was Fennec that he almost took out there.
It's a very, very unfortunate, definitely not an intentional move by JD, but his qualifying now over and out as well. We still have Andrew in P6, close to his P8 merchant position, out on track. Can he improve? He only needs 4 milliseconds to catch Warlord ahead of him. Heavy braking into the final corner. He's pretty much there. He just needs a good exit. Takes 2 inside curbs. A much tighter line than we saw from Trouble moments ago.
Yeah, I think he's overslowed there. I don't know if that's going to be an improvement.
Crosses the line, does not improve on his time. So that's P6 for Andrew. Currently crossing the line. Binding was very strong at the start of the session. Now feeling a bit more desperation, I would assume. Video Gamer Guide, the last driver to cross the line.
So it's Matt taking pole for tonight's race 1. Ultimate K's are their teammates, but the 700ths behind. Eddie in P3, JD in P4, Warlord in P5, Andrew in P6, Esra in P7, Jedlin in P8, Exus in P9, Burns in P10, Fennec in P11, Exevius in P12, Trouble in P13, Binding in P14, Cuckoo in P15, Arid in P16, King Kodiak in P17, Captain in P18, and Video Gamer Guy in P19.
Yeah, gotta say, standout performances from JD and Escher there. Definitely set some pretty good lap times, set them up well for race 1, but being in P4 and P7, you pretty much are in the middle of what some would like to call the vortex, so lots of caution to be had there. One small mistake can send you from the front of the grid to the back of the pack for both races. Of course, the reverse grid for race 2 only goes down to P12, so if you have a really bad first race and only recover to P13, you will be starting P13 for race 2. Now the driver's just getting their setups and pit strategy set as usual. They have 2 minutes to do so. That'll be followed by formation lap and a rolling start. No standing starts in this league. And you can see there, is that Kaze's car just jumping for joy every few seconds? No, actually, it's JD's car. Seems to have stopped now that I've mentioned it.
It knows.
It is a little bit interesting to compare the camera angles that I'm seeing on my screen and on the stream itself. I've pretty much the entire grid in my sights, whereas on your end it's just been the top half for quite some time. Now I can see the whole grid, but either the stream is really far behind, further than usual, or it was glitching a bit.
I'm still not used to YouTube, so I do not know.
Yeah, I think the delay is a bit bigger than it is on Twitch. As the formation lap is about to get underway. No racing just yet. So we're admiring the Kodiak livery here in the back from his teammate. Though starting in last place, I'm not quite sure who that keep your distance message is to at this point.
All the people he's going to dive bomb, make him up multiple positions into turn 1.
Ooh, the tinfoil hat is on Nismo tonight.
I think everyone is going to be frantically trying to warm up their tires, that's for sure.
I mean, these are different conditions now. The track does appear to be a bit warmer than it was. It's not moist like it was before. The left-hand tires are probably going to take a bit of a beating temperature-wise.
Yeah, and compared to qualifying, the track not starting damp, no overcast conditions. We have clear conditions, and the only thing that will be coming later in race 1 will be some cloudy weather, so I don't think the drivers have too much to worry about other than themselves and the others.
So you're saying it's cloudy with a chance of desync?
I think it's cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
That's copyrighted.
Ah. As Mats leads the pack through the final corner. Ultimate K is their teammate, lined up next to them. Eddie behind with JD behind Ultimate Kaiser.
Who will come out on top? We're about to find out.
And he's off. That's leading the way, followed by Ultimate Kaiser. No one properly getting too much of a great start at the front. Everyone pretty much slotting straight into Guava, but they're side by side, 3 wide behind JD, Andrew, and Warlord. Warlord dropping to P6.
That's the top 2 now. Try to pull away along with Eddie. Keza very much enjoying his teammate's slipstream. Very brave move there into turn 1 from the trio behind, but it's managed to end well. And now Eddie trying to overtake Keza instead. That slipstream not doing much for Keza. I have to wonder if he's holding back at the start. It's a bit of a risky strategy.
Eddie making up the position on Ultimate Keza. Side by side go Warlord and Jedlin.
Yeah, Jedlin's made up a good few positions here. Into turn 1, Eddie now putting the pressure on Mats. Is Keza gonna try and make Eddie nervous by looking at that inside? They all pretty much stay on the same line there, except for Warlord looking to the inside of Andrew into turn 1.
They give each other the space. Andrew on the outside, wanting to hopefully have the run. He does, able to just slot his car in front.
You can see Keza in that right-hand kink, just having to tap the brakes ever so slightly. Andrew now looking for a move on the top 3. They're not able to pull away. He's sending it on Keza.
Down the inside. Now side by side with Eddie. Warlord trying to get in some of this action. Andrew's gone from P4 to P2 behind his championship rival now. And they're 3 wide just behind.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very, very interesting down into turn 1. It's I hope they don't make contact, because if we can have this all race, it's going to be amazing.
Well, as Mats
you see
goes
Andrew there getting cut off by Mats.
heavily defensive. Andrew looking for the move around the outside. Ultimate Kaiser drops down to P5. Warlord now in P3.
On board with Keza. You have Eddie on his outside, Warlord just in front. As we get the world's worst camera for that angle.
Andrew currently in P1. Leading the way from what I believe was a P6 start.
All I know is that they're keeping it incredibly nice and tidy so far. No major crashes. The whole field's still within 8 seconds. As I say that, I think something's happened to Asher. He's had a spin, but that car is still in one piece. Back to turn 1. So Andrew now leads the race.
Or
and look at that, Jedlin sending it down the inside of 2-3 cars.
There's contact between Ultimate Kaiser and Warlord. Warlord spins off the track. Just stays away from the grass, but that's going to drop him some lengths, and I think all the way down almost to the back of the grid.
Exactly, but the fact that those rear tires stayed on the asphalt, I think will make all the difference when it comes to his chances for benefiting from the reverse grid for race 2, because he is now only 9 seconds off the lead. Despite that, if he had been fully in the grass, that would have doubled for sure. Back to the fight for the lead. Andrew now under pressure from Mats and Eddie. Jedlin now in 4th. Keza all the way down to 5th place, being pressured by JD. There's still fights going on here. Xevious fighting it out with trouble for P8. See Andrew going all over the place to keep Mats behind him.
Yeah, these two championship rivals currently separated by no points at all on the championship standings. So these two are going to try and get every single point they can over each other.
Keza once again serving as our camera car. You can see Mats now fighting with Eddie for 2nd place. To go through the kink effortlessly into the next heavy braking zone. Will Jedlin go for a move? No, he still holds back on the racing line for now. You can see Keza just gaining on the brakes. Who will get the slipstream off the leader into turn 1? I think it's mostly Eddie at the moment, but it all depends on where Andrew drives that car. Currently giving it to Mats.
Side by side, Eddie with Matt. Eddie down the inside, holding Matt's back. Andrew currently holding the race perfect, as Jedlin getting a massive run, definitely pressing that boost button. Takes both drivers down the inside of the straight. Already in front by turn 4.
Oh, and you can see Eddie there changing lines in the braking zone. He's gone for a dive, and it's actually paid off for him. So Eddie back up into 2nd place. They're building a gap to Andrew now, 1 second separating them. If they keep on fighting this hard, Andrew may well pull away on his own.
Yeah, normally slipstream is absolutely crucial in this, but yeah, Andrew clearly hoping that these drivers are just going to keep on slowing each other down. I mean, Jedlin now making it 3 wide with the group up ahead. I think Ultimate Kaiser pressing the boost button.
Behind Fennec and JD trying to get in on this action as well. Make it a 5-car fight for P2. On board with K, as you can see, he's a little bit early on the brakes than those ahead. So he's able to pick his line. Eddie, though,
oh,
has
he's lost
braked
it!
too late and he's sliding off the track. That's still a horrible camera. Oh, my word. Well, Eddie recovers to P12, still within the range, but Warlords managed to overtake him now. So they're going to be making King Kodiak their next target, no doubt. Andrew now only half a second ahead. Matt's since the, well, I think Eddie there was one of the rowdiest guys in that party. He was compromising a lot of people's lines by vying for that P2. With him no longer there, they're able to focus on catching the leader again. Not to say it was dirty, though. He was, I think his moves were very, very clean, but was absolutely costing them time.
They go into the final couple corners.
6-car fight for P1.
Yeah, Andrew, Matt, Ultimate Kaiser, Jedlin, JD, and Fennec at the back of this large fight. As we'll see, the absolute snake effect. Everyone wanting a bit of slipstream. Fennec absolutely trying to make a move on JD round the outside.
Can he send it on the brakes? Yes, he can, as long as he keeps that rear under control in the mid-corner, which he absolutely has. Well done to Fennec up to P5. The 2 teammates now behind each other again. Jidlin back down to 4th. So we go on board with Jedlin. Looking for an outside line, but he's being boxed in by the 2 teammates. Just behind Fennec's view, you can see Jedlin's not been able to make any gains on these 2 with that ironclad formation. Andrew's still 6/10 ahead of this pack. Further back, there's a fight for P7 as well. Trouble versus Xevious. And into turn 1. Are either of them going to change lines? I think they're keeping it nice and civil. They hope to catch up to that battle for the lead.
I think that looks like Jedlin might have gone a bit wide there. Fennec making a nice move on him.
And you can see JD has plenty of overspeed as well. This is going to be another position loss for Jedlin. If JD can keep it on the track, which he's barely able to. 2 wheels on the grass, he's lost some speed. Lock up from Fennec.
Lock up from Jedlin.
And you can see now Mats has taken over the lead. The top 3 separated by absolutely nothing anymore. They could be 3 wide into turn 1.
Matt
Kaiser pulls out of the slipstream.
Andrew sandwich. As Andrew, I think, looking down the inside.
Nice wide entry from JD, hoping to get a bit of a cutback on Jedlin, who's gone a little deeper than he has. Hasn't quite paid off yet. Let's go back to Fennec as our camera card. The top 3 swapping positions left, right, and center. Matt's down to 3rd from 1st, and Andrew back up to 1st as well.
Fennec like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Is he going to try to dive it down the inside? He doesn't, but he gets Matt down the straight.
Yeah, but Mats isn't giving up, though. He is now making it side by side on corner exit. Doesn't even have to wait for the straight. And that lets him claim the slipstream as well. Fennec is stranded out there.
Need a slipstream effect there.
Ooh, as I think something might have happened to Binding. He's losing positions.
That is never something you want to see. And when I mean that, I mean the tense rather than the racing action.
CKs are now going off the track. I do wonder how track limits will be policed in this race. Not too much to be gained from leaving them around here. As this quarter formation here. Keeps on going. Andrew from Keza from Mats. Fennec and Jedlin just behind. Looks like JD now fighting it out with... oh no, sorry, that is still Jedlin. Never mind. Back into turn 1 again.
Side by side, Ultimate Kaiser on the outside. Was further along, but Andrew was later on the brakes. Holds him wide.
He's left the space though. They're still side by side. Very, very clean stuff from Andrew. Giving the outside line to his opponent once again.
Oh,
a
bit of contact
that time. Set Keza into the grass, but Keza barely loses any time. Is down to P4 though. I think I'll have to write that down as a commentator's curse for poor Keza. Now side by side with Jedlin. Into the final corner. Should have the advantage coming out of it. But could JD make a 3 wide? He's absolutely making a 3 wide down the inside into the braking zone for turn 1.
Can he take them both before turn 1? Yes, he can. Oh, but he's lost it. He's lost the rear end.
Yeah, I think you said yes, he can just a microsecond too early there, Nismo. Where does he recover to? We have Warlord coming through that same stretch of track right now. JD still not back on the asphalt yet, waiting for his safe rejoin. Rejoins right in front of a pack of 4 cars. Oh, that was King Kodiak almost taking out Barent.
Oh, and JD's been whacked out wide. Oh, and there's contact.
And there's a hit just ahead. Yeah, that's Cuckoo going sideways.
Oh, that's a big.
Into the barrier.
Oh, and more
contact. And taking out
contact.
Kodiak as well.
Oh.
Kodiak's been hit. Oh, and that could be a safety car.
Yeah, that could very possibly be a safety car. 3 cars definitely involved from that one.
It's 11th. JD there also missing his wing way off the track. Do we have a safety car? I don't think we do. No, they're absolutely still pushing out here in front. Andrew leading from Fennec, from Mats. Jedlin in trouble. I think still duking it out back here. Xevious up to P7. Very, very surprised not to see a safety car there. People who are going to be pitting now are going to be losing lots and lots of time. Yeah, the only thing we missed here for this front fight is that Fennec is now in 2nd place. 2 teammates of Keza and Mats just behind.
Yeah, Fennec doing a good job at making his way up the field. Likewise with Andrew. As the top 4 pretty much all in the championship fight right now. As Ultimate Kaiser going deep, allows his teammate to make the cutback as well on Fennec, as Fennec is just left out wide.
Oh, and you can see as well, that car has plenty of rear end, really. I mean, I imagine some cars with that amount of overspeed would just understeer off the track, but Mats is able to keep that thing under control. So we go back to Jedlin, just behind Keza. Fight for P1, still 5 cars as things stand. Andrew leading 6/10 from Mats. I think JD and Cooker are the only ones to have gone to the pits as well. Kodiak has stayed out on track. He's in 11th.
11th position is very crucial. I mean, P12 obviously will have him starting on pole.
You can see almost contact between Jedlin and Keza. Keza down the inside. Jedlin gives him the space. Back down to P5 for him. Further back, also a scrap going on here for P12 between Escher and Binding. Binding faring a bit better than his teammate, although it's still on the brink of not making the cutoff for the reverse grid positions. Some people, after their incidents, having a fairly lonely race, it seems. But Arid is side by side with Exus. This is for 15th. Oh, and they make contact as well.
Side by side for here. Most time we see people get pushed wide, but they just leave enough space for each other.
Yeah, you love to see it, but we're quickly going to cut back to the fight for the lead. We now have Keza up into second place. He's managed to get past Fennec. That gap to the leader now just 0.2 of a second. I'd say so far Andrew is the one to have led the most laps this race. Keza trying to change that now into the braking zone for the final corner. And just see the amount of counter steering that he has to do to carry that much speed in there.
They're still side by side. Andrew's got the better run out the corner, and Fennec gonna make it 3 wide. Oh, not 3 wide?
No, not quite. It looks like Jedlin's had a bit of a poor exit as well, but he's still got a very good view. And you can see just when people are very easy on the brakes like that, it kind of extends the group, and that's very helpful to people that are just kind of starting to fall out ever so slightly, because that gets them right back into the slipstream. Now you can see a back marker just up ahead on the road. I think that is Arid in 17th position. You're gonna have to navigate him carefully. Oh, and they're all trying to get some slipstream off of him, but he's on the brakes, so that could have been dangerous. Jedlin, though, now overtaking Keza into the final quarter. Side-by-side head, Mats and Fennec. Keza sending it down the inside of Jedlin with an absolute switchback out of the final corner. 2x2 behind Andrew. Beautiful synchronized engine sound on my end.
Side by side, little lock up from Jedlin. Could have him going a bit wider than he wants. Ultimate Keza uses that to just go down the inside there. Back up into P4 position. The top 3, Andrew, Mats, Fennec, all 3 of these guys fighting for first place in the championship. 0 points separating Andrew and Matt, and only 3 points behind is Fennec.
Yeah, I have to say the boost makes this a very interesting race strategy-wise. As you can see, a little bit of contact ahead between Keza and Andrew. Almost 3 wide coming out of the final corner. Andrew not really being left a whole bunch of space. Keza, though, perceiving that and now actually moving over to give his teammate some slipstream. Everyone converging into turn 1, making it 3 wide once again, 2 wide behind. Good lock up from Mats on the outside. Nothing too serious. So Andrew touches a little bit too much grass for most gamers' liking, but he's absolutely judged it perfectly. Carries more speed than Keza on the outside. Keza now getting mugged by potentially 2 other drivers as Fennec tries to get in on the action.
He's down the inside of both of Matt and Ultimate Keza. Absolutely nails the braking zone. And is up from P2 from what I believe was P5.
Yeah, I think some of the wiser drivers in this group realizing they don't have to fight everything like it's the last lap just yet. We're only on lap 22 of 34. I think once we enter the final few laps, we'll start to see a bit more of a robust defense from a lot of these drivers. Meanwhile, it seems like Arid is pretty much able to follow these guys. He's currently in 17th, but with all the battling... Oh, never mind. And will that be an obstacle for any cars behind? Yes, it is.
That's
Trouble off the road. Yeah, Xevious completely off the road. Trouble managing to stay on and get that position. Xevious will be livid about that. Let Warlord through as well. He's recovered to P7 after being 13th earlier. Back to the leaders who are all squished together in the final corner. The very opposite of a bag of chips. Or as the British would say, crisps.
Because that's the only way it's supposed to be spelled.
They're all tumbling into turn 1 yet again, this time without their back marker companion.
10 laps remaining. And the more that counter drops, the more aggressive these drivers are going to get.
As the camera angles continue to surprise me. On board with Ultimate Keza. Just half a second away from the leader, but you wouldn't believe how many cars are between him and said leader. He has the outside line, but he's essentially boxed in. Not much he can do except for wait for other people to make mistakes, maybe get a cut back in the next corner, which he is trying to do.
Well, I think he might have it.
Some good action here. 3 wide on exit, but they managed to keep it clean. Despite all this fighting, though, Trouble still about 5 seconds behind. He's been very consistent, but he just doesn't have the pace to catch these guys.
Okay, so later on the brakes. Better
Oh,
Jedlin.
and
Oh,
there's
Andrew spun out for the lead.
And will he be able to stay out of the barrier? Well, I was about to say barely, but he let go of the brakes, rolled in, and is now doing donuts. From the lead of the race down to P8, will he be able to get on track ahead of Barent? No, he won't. Video Gamer Guy is a little bit further behind. Andrew down to 9th place. That'll be a good starting position for race 2, but the points are really the ones you want from race 1 because they are worth more. Fennec now the new race leader. It's been reduced to a 4-car scrap for the lead. Matt and Jedlin now side by side, P3 and 4 in K's slipstream. Jedlin has the inside line, brakes ever so slightly later as well, but not pushing it in the slightest. Matt's though still holding it around the outside, well held.
Nicely around the outside, but that has caused a small little gap between them and Ultimate Kaiser. As I say that, very late on the brakes, Mats goes gaining all of that time back on the group ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder when people use the boost, obviously they get more straight line speed, more top end speed, but you also have to brake harder and spend a little bit longer on the brakes. So I do wonder how much of that lap time that you end up sacrificing in the braking zone at the end of the straights. Because that could definitely account for those gaps closing on the brakes so often as we've seen here tonight. It's not really been an incredibly typical feature of these cars on other tracks, so definitely unique for Goiania as they continue to race down to the final corner here. Side by side for the two race leaders, Fennec versus Keza. Fennec out on top for now. They are approaching another back marker. That is Captain in 16th.
Oh, Fennec's gone quite a bit wide. Gonna leave the door open for Ultimate Kaiser.
Yeah, they'll both be getting side draft from each other. They can see Kaiser's just got the better top line speed over here. Not by much, however. It's 3 wide again. Jedlin sending it down the inside into turn 1. Come on. Should go on board with Mats. Ooh, and you can just see how tough it is to judge the space that these cars are given, as Fennec has to back out or be forced into the grass. Nose to tail into the final corner again. These are very, very short 50-ish second laps. Keza sending it around the outside of Jedlin. Jedlin has the tighter line, but does he have the revs in that engine? No, he slots in behind Keza, who promptly starts to weave. Matt's seeing his chance into turn 1, braking again. A little bit later than his opponent. And there's a lockup from Jedlin.
A lot of these cars locking up. Luckily, these tyres quite good when it comes to lockups. Not flat spotting as easier as some other tyres, that's for sure. As Fennec getting an absolutely mega run. Has to back off a bit. Oh,
He hasn't backed off enough. He did tap the rear of Jedlin, who has another lockup. Manages to keep it under control, though. Does not slam into Mats on the outside. Further back as well, we do have Trouble now fighting Warlord for 5th position. Though that could still take a little bit to unfold as Fennec there re-overtaking Jedlin. The gap to the leader, Keza, just 2 tenths into the braking zone for Mats in 2nd. As we're now entering the final 4 laps of this race, I think the defensive driving will become more robust very, very soon. You have to wonder as well how many people are saving that battery for the final lap.
Jedlin, for one thing, absolutely just trying to go for it. Does he make up Oh, he's trying it on the lead as well. Down the inside. Oh, everyone's jumping on each other as Matt's just staying on the outside line. Jedlin not getting a good run at all out of the corner, holding Fennec up.
Yeah, that was an amazing triple overtake by Jedlin, but as you can see, on the absolute limit of what the car could handle mid-corner, I have to wonder if that contact with Fennec was any of the reason why he had such a bad exit, but either way, he's still only half a second away from the leader with plenty of slipstream still left over. In fact, if they keep fighting like this, they might not even end up lapping Captain, who's now ahead of Binding, so Binding's been lapped. See how fine the margins are here. As Fennec looks to benefit off of these two going side by side. And Keza split out of the lead!
That's another driver that spun from the lead of the race.
We'll see where Xevious comes out here. Warlord and Trouble have already gotten past Keza. So he is now down to 6th position from the lead. That's the second driver to lose the lead of this race in a dramatic fashion. Now Jedlin fighting it out with Mats for that P1 spot. Only Fennec left to spoil their party. I have to say as well, this is a tremendous effort from Jedlin. We don't typically see him fighting for the lead all race long. So you can see the bumps in the mid straight section there. Pretty severe, but these cars can handle it. Ooh, Jedlin getting a little squirrely under the brakes, touching a tiny bit of grass. Fennec's gone too wide as well. He's compromised his exit, could lose both positions there, down into turn 1. Is Jedlin gonna go for a move, or is he too boxed in? Side by side does get the overtake done on Fennec, who lets them through. Now on lap 33 of 34.
Oh, that looked like a bit of contact there between Jedlin and Fennec.
Yeah, it was a little tough to see with that angle as well. As these fights keep on going, Warlord and Trouble now only 2.4 seconds off the leaders. If they have any sort of moment in the final lap, those two could stand to benefit massively from it. Matt's now leading this trio into the final corner on the penultimate lap. 1 lap left to go.
Question is who has kept their boost button? Who is going to have the overspeed on the final lap of the race?
You can see the customary weaving down the straight. Matt's maintaining a 1/10 of a second gap. If Fennec goes for an overtake here, that could mean that Matt's has this win in the bag. Gap now grown by 1/10 out of that previous corner. Matt's clearly very, very quick there.
Barreling through the kink. And then definitely pressing their boost button, but I think so has Matt.
Yeah, if they've all saved it for the final lap, then there's not really going to be too much action to see there, as none of them lose the rear. But Fennec could benefit from Jedlin struggling on corner exit. Is he going to make it side by side across the line?
It's a long run to the line. And I think he might have just got him on exit across the line. Fennec taking P2 away from Jedlin. Matt's winning the race. Trouble overtaking Warlord on that lap. Taking P4 position. With Ultimate Case in P6, Xevious in P7, Andrew recovering to P8, Burned in P9, Video Gamer Guy in P10, as you see Escher, Eddie and King Kodiak crossing the line. King Kodiak just outside that top 12, so King Kodiak will be starting P13 with Eddie on pole.
Exus now crosses the line in 14th. I will say that's a very, very rare moment of Kodiak not getting the second race pole. And it was so close.
As that's winning that race. But I believe Fennec having Ultimate Kaiser having the fastest lap of the race.
It's a 51.36. Does appear to be pretty speedy. Can confirm that is the fastest time set by anyone in this race. Everyone else still either in the 51s or 52s. A 10-second penalty as well for JD down in 18th. I doubt that will have made a lot of difference, as Cuckoo behind was 2 whole laps behind the race leader.
That would have been from speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, there's some aspects of life that you really just shouldn't speed through.
Pit lane being one of them. You know, how dare they endanger the virtual pit stop people? That's your team. Your virtual team.
Yeah, they might go on strike after this one, and then we can't have race 2, because, you know, what if they need new tires?
Well, talking about race 2, it's gonna be starting in some damp conditions with some light rain at the start.
Do you mean moist conditions?
Very moist conditions. Not as moist as we saw not yesterday, last week. But for sure, definitely very, very moist indeed.
As we've just been given confirmation, race 2 will start in 9 minutes. That is to say, that's when the session will be fired up, because the actual race will probably be starting another 2 to 3 minutes after. Well, actually, no, including the formation lap where everyone gets their positions right, that'll probably be an extra 5 minutes.
Oh, while we do that, in that case, we have some. We'll do a rough sketch right now.
I was promised Temple Run.
We don't have any temple run tonight, unfortunately. But what we do have is some great liveries to judge on. As let me grab some pen. There will be an official one next week that I will bring up, and then maybe change some of my decisions. But let me bring the live. As we'll start with the current championship leaders car. This is Matt's VR46's car, and made by Ultimate Kaiser. And I think it's a very simple livery. Apart from that, there isn't. I wouldn't say there isn't too much. I like the colors, but I think it's a very basic livery. So I think for me personally, I think this for me is a B class. There's nothing too. I like it. I like the color scheme. I like of course, the Moisty Boys on the back. I think it's just a very basic livery, so I think it's a B class for me.
I mean, it's nice and simple. It's iconic. It's got good colors. One thing I do wish that there was a bit more of, that we've seen on quite a few other cars this season, is funny sponsors. So I'll have to maybe give it an A- for me. I think it's still a really good looking car.
Next, we'll pick Ricky and JD's car. This is the anime livery, which most people know if you've been watching from prior season. And I like the cut. Once again, I do like the color concept. I especially love the neon cat. I think that's what it's called.
If you're talking about the one that so that is a Neon Cat. So it's like
Cat.
NYAN.
I think I like the color. I like the color scheme. I like some of the sponsors. I think are really good. So for me, I think this is also a solid B for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a reasonable fan of their anime themed liveries in the past. I do think this one is a little more risque for the sponsors, however. So while the colors are still pretty good, I wouldn't say it's necessarily finished very well. It's a very, very thin strips of green. I think they could have done a little bit more with it. So I'm going to give this one a. I'm kind of wishy-washy between a B minus and a C plus, but I think I'll end up going for a C plus on this one.
Okay. On to Cuckoo and Bindings livery. And I do. I think it's very hard to work out if this would be an actual livery that's been made by the game, but obviously not because we have some funny sponsors on. I really do like it. I think they've nailed where all the sponsors are. I think they've nailed where a lot of the different finishes on the car. I think for me this will be an A class. It's similar to Kaiser's car, but it definitely has more going for it.
I mean, the only extra I see going for it is the sponsors. This livery is as basic as it gets. Where would you say they've put the most effort into?
Mainly the sponsors, and I think some of the textures around and the different angles, a lot of the carbon fiber.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad looking car by any means. I don't think they've made it ugly, but it really doesn't. I can't feel the effort that they've put into it.
What the hell? The livery's just changed automatically. It's now showing. Okay, well, I guess that solves who we're doing next. King Kodiak's livery.
Well, hold on, I haven't quite given my rating yet. I'll give them a D plus.
A D plus. Okay. But King Kodiak's livery has just popped up on my screen. I really like this livery, I'll be honest. I think it's a very playful livery. It's got a lot of depth about it. It's that they are new drivers as much as they've been proving that they can get the points. I think it's a really there are some moments that are a bit basic, but I think for me this will have to be my S class.
Yeah, it's definitely. I do like the look of this livery. I think what they've done with the colors, with the L driver also in red, with the name of the game, which again also with complementary colors. I think it's very meta that they put the game name on there. The sponsors are very classic as well. Of course, you have the hidden YouTube link on the car if you know where to find it. It is very good. It kind of gives me Haas vibes, but with more humor. I'm a little bit torn on if I should go for S or not, but it's definitely at the very least A. So I'll give this one an S minus.
Right, which brings us now on to the America livery driven by Warlord. And I think this is a very similar livery to Cuckoo's. Where it's got a nice color scheme. I do like the red and the black. And I think it's hard. I think I'm gonna have to put it on. I think A, but yeah, A minus.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one as well. It's kind of playing it safe with the colors. We've seen these colors before on the previous Kodiak car. Quite a bit more red, a bit more black as well. For an America themed livery, I would have really expected a bit more blue. Just having that media line blue at the top doesn't really cut it for me. So I think it is missing a color, maybe even two. But yeah, I still think it's well done. So I'm gonna give it an. It's getting a B plus for me.
Now, one livery I know isn't getting a B plus is Eddie and Xavius's car. And I mean, at least they painted the bottom half, I guess. But that is just a blue livery. And I think this is gonna have to be a confident F for me. Definitely got to add things. I do thank Eddie for doing some of the other liveries. I think he did can't remember whose exactly, but he's definitely done some other liveries. But I think he's just given up on his own and Xevius's or whoever did it. So I think this is an easy F for me.
See, it is funny because, I mean, sure, it is disappointing, but on the other hand, this is the exact same shade of blue used by this BeamNG YouTuber called Muya in his videos. And I asked Eddie if he knew that YouTuber because he's also Italian. He'd apparently never heard of the guy, so I'm just very, very surprised to see a car that's that similar to what I typically see in those videos. But yeah, you're still right. There's no effort put into this. So I'd have to give it not quite an F, but an E tier for at least evoking something, you know?
He does. Oh, it looks like we're heading onto the racetrack. So we'll continue. We'll have got a couple minutes to have a look at people's liveries. There. As we're just gonna wait for the lobby to load. And yeah, so got some
We've given Andrew plenty of rage bait.
As we are now back on the grid. Who else haven't we done? We haven't done Captain's livery. That is for sure. Let me camera ready. In fact, I can just use this camera. I do like Captain's car. That is for sure. It is some very nice colours, some Twix, some colours, some mustard and ketchup. It's definitely one that I like. I think it's on the verge between B and A, and I think I'm gonna have to put it as a B plus.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel a bit like a condiment car with those colors, but it is also well done. Now, it is a bit of a shame that we can't get a better view of these cars in these conditions. Of course, we're not in the garage anymore, but considering how this car really it does stand out more than others, I think it deserves an A minus because it's really one that I can imagine winning races, just not quite at this stage of the season.
Who else haven't we done? Fennec and Trouble. Their livery. I think, in all matter of fact, looking at my list, I'm going to move Warlords down to B and Cuckoos down to B. Looking at it, because I think it is on the same level as Captain. I do like the logo on the front of this car, Cuckoo, and the not Cuckoo of Trouble's car and Fenix. I think it's very similar to a lot of the other cars that I've put into now B here. So I think it would have to be a B plus for me.
I think I actually completely agree with you on that rating, Nismo. I do share a B plus.
As grid is going to be slowly formed. Let me just put the safety car light on.
We do have
on screen.
2 more liveries to go as well. We still have Arid in the black car.
Let's have a closer look at this. I've never noticed. Is that the Scottish? That is the Scottish flag on the top of it.
I mean, it says Visit Scotland.
There is something about this livery that I do very much like indeed. I think it is a great livery. I think this is A. I think this is A for me. I really do. The more I look at it, the more I like it. The more different sponsors. I like the little detail of the tow hook. I think this is a very well done and thought out livery.
Let's take another look at the bonnet here. You can see more of that pattern that you saw from the back on the front. It is quite well done. I do wish I could see the sides of this car a little bit better for this. But I'm pretty much always a fan of black cars. I do tend to pick that sort of color when I'm racing myself. It's not quite on the same level as what you'd say maybe like a classic Lotus F1 car, but it is still quite nice to look at. I think I'll be giving it a somewhat harsh B+.
Alright, and that brings us to our last livery with Exus and Andrew's livery. And look, I'm not biased because it's green, but this livery does look really, really good. So for me, this is a positively easy S tier.
It is a little bit more busy than some of the other cars with all the sponsors, but clearly a lot of thought put into those sponsors as well. A lot of very humorous ones on that car. The Bandit on the side is quite well made as well. And you can really see, I mean, a lot of sponsors grouped in on the back there, really suiting the name bumper sticker. I like it quite a bit as well. I will give it a flat A.
Well, with all of that done, everyone's going to be lining up on the grid. Someone spun out as P19, okay?
He's pulled off on the grass. He's definitely gotten going at the very least, so either something has disconnected on his end, which I think is unlikely since he's neatly pulled off to the side of the road, or maybe something happened IRL and he's got to take a short break. Oh, and he's retired.
That is unfortunate.
That's a long break.
At the start of the race. So 18 drivers starting this race instead of the full 20.
You can see a little bit of confusion as to who is on what side in the back. As we get started very shortly on this second 34-lap race. More interesting weather conditions. I have to wonder, will people be changing tires? Will they be staying out on tires that are no longer suitable because a pit stop will cost them that much more time? We'll have to wait and see.
As it's
Remember, they started very late last race, almost when they were at the line.
Eddie to lead the way, followed by Escher on the opposite side. Video Gamer Guy in P3. Well, as we get racing for the final time tonight at Goiania.
I think you might have added a letter there, Nismo.
Probably, as they head into turn 1, side by side, Video Gamer Guy and Escher. Escher holding it around the outside. A lot of people going wide here. These slippery conditions could cause some kerfuffling.
They all keep it on track for now. You can see Eddie still in the lead. I think he's got quite an advantage, but Andrew only 8/10 behind now. As you can see, Jedlin just completely going off the track there. I wonder, did he overtake anyone?
He is dropping
Definitely.
positions.
3 wide now. Oh, that's so incredibly close. He's really in the middle of the vortex, but Escher now leading this race. Something's happened to Eddie. Where is he?
P15.
Oh my word, what has happened to Eddie? How did he lose that much time without us even noticing? That's a horrendous start to his race. Meanwhile, Video Gamer Guy now taking over the lead as I write down another curse this evening, this time for Eddie. That's our 4th one today. See the top 2 going into turn 1 with quite a lead. Fennec already up to 3rd with Keza. Where is Mats? A couple positions back down. We could end up with a very similar fight for the lead within just a few laps.
Then it going wide, allowing Ultimate Kaiser to overtake him. Just behind as well. Very close between Warlord, Matt, and Andrew. These three were fighting at the front at one point in race 1. So whether they'll end up colliding or spinning on their own, we will have to see. As very late on the brake goes Exevious on Warlord, not able to get the run.
That was very risky, as Matt's now having a pretty poor exit on the outside. Probably had a bit of a slide that he had to save, as Binding now overtakes him, Binding up to P8 for the lead now into turn 1. Video Gamer Guy side by side with Escher. Escher around the outside. Doesn't quite have the grip, it doesn't seem.
Ultimate Kaiser as
Kaiser
well,
slips through.
fighting for the lead.
Escher now down to 3rd. The whole field still within 11 seconds of each other. Some confusion about when to turn into that kink there. Escher gonna send it, not quite. Further behind from Fennec's POV, you can see all the drifting mid-corner. These conditions are very, very slippery.
Losing the rear end, but getting the move done on Kaiser. Now looking for the move up the inside of Escher. Ultimate Kaiser's had a terrible exit off that corner, allowing Andrew to also make a move. Could they be full wide into turn 1?
Yeah, I mean, oh, and you can see there Escher going off the track, but keeping the car under control. Not going off into the grass, just shipping a couple of positions. Matt's really struggling there. Well, I mean, he's a lot closer now, but he was 2 seconds adrift going into turn 1. I have to wonder if he started this race on slicks. It would not surprise me in the slightest. Oh, and just behind there's a massive crash. It's Kaiser in the wall together with Fennec.
Was there another car involved? That could be a potential safety car.
I don't think there was, but you can see Kaiser there a little slower in his rejoining of the track. If I can get the camera on him, his car is very, very bent. And he is pitting for damage, as is Escher. Is that a pit stop for tires?
It could be. I mean, if you got damaged this early, you don't want to be doing another pit stop. I would personally try and risk it on the slicks if the track was fine enough. I mean, I do see an ever so slight dry line, but if you go off that dry line on slick compound tires, I mean, you might as well just call the race off at that point. So it's going to be difficult for them to recover, but hopefully they'll be having a justified pit stop.
Yeah, Mats, I mean, you saw he was 2 seconds off the lead just a lap or two ago, and now he's fighting neck and neck with the lead. It's once again a fight between Andrew and Mats. The other drivers that started at the sharp end of the field this time nowhere to be seen anymore. Although I say that, they're all pretty much within 10 seconds of this fight.
Well, Video Gamer Guy and Fennec also pitting.
Fennec likely has some extra damage on the car, but the track does look like it's starting to ease off on the sprinkles ever so slightly. See, Eddie back up into third, so he went from the race lead down to, what, 15th, and now he's back up to third already.
Yeah.
In 7 laps, 6 laps rather. That is an insane, what do you call that again?
Recovery?
Yeah, but I'm thinking like of the where it goes like up and down, up and down.
Roller coaster?
Yeah, that's definitely one way you could refer to it. As you see there, Mats with a wider line through that corner. Once again, Eddie is dragging Trouble along with him, turning it into a 4-car fight for the lead. Once again, Kodiak and Cuckoo in the pits now as well from just outside the top 10.
Well, as Trouble tries to make a move, slots his way between himself and...
And Mats, but Mats holds on around the outside. You really don't want to be over-rotating the car too much on the inside, as Eddie now doing the very opposite, under-rotating the car on the outside. So giving him some fresh grass to cut and a bit of a gap as well. 6/10 now to Trouble in third. The leaders, though, side by side into the final corner again. Mats with a clear straight line advantage, might have been using his boost.
Goes a bit wide, that's going to allow Trouble to slide his way up. As well as
horrendous
Eddie.
exit for Mats again. That's not the first time. Binding in the pits now. And you can see as well, these people pitting is causing traffic to appear early for the leaders. We're only on lap 9. That back marker staying nicely on the inside, though, not getting involved in the 4-car fight for the lead. Andrew, Trouble, Eddie, and Mats making up that group. Jedlin just 1 second behind.
Will any of them pit?
We have Captain in the pits. That is further back down the field. See all these different approaches into that corner entry. Quite fascinating to see.
And
Mats this time having a much better exit.
Getting the run on Trouble.
I do apologize for all these horrendous cameras. The game does not like the final corner. Mats having a look, but thinking better of it. Andrew fairly undisturbed in the lead for the moment. Some of the drivers that have come out of the pits are still battling with others. We do have Escher and Video Gamer Guy fighting it out for P10. Barrington X is for 8th as well. But let's see what the leaders do into the final corner here. Eddie very defensive for Mats. Trouble could gain if either of them messes up.
Keeping it clean. Definitely Matt's pressuring the back of Eddie. 24 laps remaining of this race, and the rain has completely stopped now. Well, I still see some, but
yeah,
pretty much won't be affecting.
It's still easing off a bit. Yeah. You can see once again Eddie somehow not losing that second position despite having to go defensive corner after corner. It's cost him enough time now that Jedlin has caught up. It's a 5-way fight for the lead. Can JD catch them 2 seconds back and make it a 6-car fight for the lead again? Now Andrew losing some positions. Looked like there was maybe a bit of contact in the kink. But Eddie is your new race leader, followed by Mats. Andrew down to 3rd for now. Just gonna take a quick look as well at what these people are up to here. Warlord and Keza duking it out for P12. Keza having that inside line. Can the Murica car get a better exit down the straight through the kink? Looks like Keza might be using his boost, or he's just got that much more grip on his tires. So we go back to the 5-4 leads once again, side by side. Mats versus Eddie. Ooh, hold on, I think there has been some movement here. No, that was just a glitch. Back to the leaders.
3 wide into the final corners.
Oh, and look how late Jedlin is on the brakes. Just about 1.5 meters away from absolutely pile driving trouble into that braking zone. Now P2 and 3 side by side. Eddie in the lead. Jedlin having so much overspeed, he has to be using his boost right now.
Is he going to look for a move down the inside?
Ooh.
He's definitely late on the brakes. Has the inside line. Can he also try and make a move on Matt's VR?
Matt's still busy dealing with Andrew just ahead. Eddie not able to pull away from them. They're about to lap some more cars, and there comes trouble. Slapping Jedlin in the face ever so slightly, trying to go for the lead, but he's boxed in by Eddie. It opens up though now with the kink moving the track to the left. Trouble into the lead.
Eddie's in the lead.
Well, Trouble had it very briefly, and I think he's got it again. No, wait,
that's Andrew,
that's for
Andrew.
P2. That is for P2, yeah. See, Andrew's been leading this race for so long, I thought he was leading again.
Oh, as they're 3 wide. Could Jedlin try and make it 4? Into turn 1. Who's the later on the brakes? Trouble braking early. Jedlin making it around the outside of not only Trouble, but also Mats.
You can see the race leader Eddie there, having some slipstream from the back markers now. P10 and 11, 12 and 13 still fighting against each other. Warlord currently ahead of Keza again. And this could be Eddie's breakthrough. He's 1.2 seconds ahead now. He has traffic between himself and second place.
There's that traffic fighting as well.
Well, hopefully they'll cease their hostilities as they get lapped. Like the final spits of rain coming down at this point.
Oh, I don't think they are. I think they're battling each other, the 2 guys ahead.
And the gap to Eddie's now down to just 0.6 of a second. So something's happened in turn 1 there, as that might be Kodiak there getting washed out wide a bit. No driver so far this evening has been able to eke out any sort of lead in this race. It's all decided in the final few moments. Yeah, that was King Kodiak and Cuckoo that they just overtook. And Binding as well. Binding was the last one. Trouble now sending it down the inside. Could this be a double overtake? Depends on the brakes.
Definitely late, but just manages to get it stopped. But Jedlin looks like might be able to get the switch back on Trouble, and has done.
Now, I find it very interesting to see these back markers now, because if they've pitted for tires and sacrificed the whole pit stop's worth of time, they are not benefiting from it, because not only are they having to let these other drivers through, they don't seem to be gaining any lap time on them. As Eddie now going a little bit wide in the final corner, causing some glitches in the timing software. Andrew's right on his rear bumper again. Slipstreaming that blue car into turn 1. Eddie holding on to the inside.
Andrew late on the brakes, trying it around the outside. Eddie just holding the inside. Andrew though with a lot better of a run out the corner, already in front by the kink. Oh, never mind. Andrew, I think Eddie may have pressed the boost button, a bit of contact. I think
Meanwhile,
Eddie...
Case has gotten past Warlord again, 412. Ooh, very, very close there, Mats, to the rear end of Andrew's car in the final corner.
Yeah, I tensed up a bit. I was wondering how badly that could have gone if he just broke a little later.
Meanwhile, a little further back, you can see JD. Oh, actually, that's Andrew scraping the pit wall. Not sure what he was trying to accomplish by doing that. Forcing a little gap on the inside. Eddie's giving it to him.
That's benefiting from their fighting.
I'm just so surprised by how little understeer there seems to be in the corner entry, because these people are able to hold it on the inside perfectly normally with people on their outside who are in the middle of the track. There's no understeer contact that we've seen. As Andrew once again trying to force a little gap down the inside. He's done it again, but he's not quite making it on the brakes, it seems. Eddie's sent it a little bit deep. Oh, he's off the track.
That's gonna Andrew's going up the inside and make an easy P1 overtake as Eddie drops all the way down to P5.
Meanwhile, JD, despite all this action, remains exactly 3 seconds behind them. Trouble just bump drafting Mats ever so slightly into turn 1, perhaps hoping that he's gonna oversend it because of the tiny bit of extra speed. On board with Eddie as Warlord ahead of Keza again. Those two keep on switching.
Eddie boxed in, nowhere to go.
Yeah, Trouble now the one being bump drafted. Oh, and could that be Jedlin flying off the track? He's managed to keep the rear in check, but it has cost him a bit of corner speed.
They snake up on the main straight. Andrew going fully defensive, trying to lose the slipstream.
Ooh, and it's now actually a three-way fight for P10 as well. Keza versus Video Gamer Guy, and boy, wait, what's happened here? It's now a 4-car fight. Excuse me, yeah, this has gotten even bigger. Looks like Keza's on top for now, fighting with Asher, Video Gamer Guy, and Warlord just behind. Quickly to go back to the leaders, though, you can see Jedlin slipping past Trouble for P4. The leaders still separated by just 0.2 of a second. Andrew going defensive on Mats. Very much a tale of two races, as you can see Jedlin drifting some more. Matt's now in the lead of this race. And look at Trouble.
That's got to be the boost button. There's no way he's got that good.
At sheer force of will, he's looking to the inside.
Could we see an overtake on Andrew as well, as he's hard on the brakes? Eddie as well, holding it around the outside. Jedlin coming back as well, so what we could have thought could have been 2, maybe 3 overtakes ends up being none.
Yeah, that's just the painful reality in those kinds of situations, as they keep on shuffling back here as well. Warlord's overtaken Video Gamer Guy and Escher. Hopes to bring the fight back to Keza, who's now in the top 10. But you can see Video Gamer Guy potentially using his boost. He's got a lot more straight line speed now. This is a guaranteed double overtake if he can nail the apex. Could be an extra overtake if Kay's is conservative on the brakes as well. He's left space on the inside. But yeah, Kay's maintaining P10 there. And Warlord holding it on the outside, coming from nowhere. Tremendous action up and down the grid. Oh, you just see a little lift from Video Gamer Guy to not crash into his opponent. Back to the leaders, you can see Andrew just 1/10 ahead of Mats. Still fighting for the lead on lap 22.
Yeah, indeed, Andrew just making the overtake on Matt, but Eddie, Jedlin, and even Trouble behind, all in this fight for the win with 12 laps left remaining as we see them go into hard braking. So Jedlin's late on the brakes, hits the back of Eddie. Eddie going into Matt's there.
And that technically did involve 3 cars, so I'm not sure if they're going to call a safety car on that one. But definitely a controversial incident to say the least. It's knocked Matt straight out of winning contention. He's dropped down to P7, now with Exevius as his new race rival. But yeah, with just 11 laps to go, he is not going to be recovering that without a safety car.
Yeah, I think if they called a safety car, they would have ruined their own strategy there, because it means if people who did pit 4 slick compound tyres gained, then they would unlap themselves and they'd be on slicks, and these guys would be still stuck on their wet compounds.
Trouble and Jedlin overtaking each other, but they're now 1 second behind Andrew. As the timing continues to glitch a bit, I think he's actually got closer to a 2-second gap, which that could end up being the first breakaway that we've seen all evening. Matt's being one of the main drivers that was gluing this group together, has overtaken Exevius, who's made quick work of him. And now 4 seconds down on JD, who's not able to catch this group either.
Eddie just catching Jedlin, lacking there, just diving his nose down the inside of turn 1. I think Jedlin going a bit wide because of it, as they're side by side going through the fastest corner on the circuit.
Side by side they go in beautiful formation that we're not being allowed to see because this game hates us. I think now that they're no longer now that they're no longer really being dragged along by P1, I think JD actually has a decent chance of catching them now. Only 2 seconds between JD and Jedlin now as Mats loses a position to Exevius. It's another textbook bad exit from the final corner, not the first one we've seen from Mats tonight.
One thing's for sure, if he's still on those wet compound tyres, they must be screaming right now.
He could well have started this race on slicks, though. It would not surprise me that he was able to handle the car in those conditions on tires that have no business being on the road at that time, but we'll have to wait and see in the interviews what kinds of strategies people use tonight for this second race. The gap between the leaders now 3 seconds, or is it something happened here? It keeps glitching every time in the final corner. It's genuinely so annoying. Trouble though, still in P2. There's battling going on. No, there's incidents going on here in the back. Binding spinning out down to 17th position. Fennec, who's having a horrible race of his own, down in 16th, has gained a spot. And it is actually close here for P14 between Cuckoo, Kodiak, and Fennec.
The battle for the not so wooden spoon, but definitely a battle in the back.
I mean, if they have 1 spin, Captain's only about 10 seconds behind, so the wooden spoon is absolutely looming over their shoulder. As a lot of the field seems to have settled down a bit. You can see Kodiak letting some other drivers through. I believe that is Mats and Exevius that have just gone through.
Oh, and I think Fennec just made a move due to that, taking advantage of the the front runners to follow them through.
Yeah, Fennec may be missing one of his taillights, but he's still got all his lights on upstairs. That was a good overtake, up to 15th now. On board with Exevius as he chases Mats through this traffic. Cuckoo directly ahead of them. And something has happened to Jedlin. He's now behind JD, 7 seconds off the lead. He's made some sort of mistake. And with JD and Jedlin now being 10 seconds off the lead, Matt's group is only 2 seconds behind them, so that could well end up being a 4-car fight for P4.
One thing's for sure is Andrew's going to hope that he can hold P1 this time. Hopes that Mats will get overtaken by some people so that he can lead championship potentially.
And you can just hear from the revs in Jedlin's car that he's not quite got what it takes to overtake the Saxony car. Very calm into turn 1. A little bit of a drift from JD ahead, on board now with Mats and Xevious. You can see they seem to be struggling to get by this back marker somewhat. Now being let through in the kink. Just to double check that is in fact Fennec letting them through. Not letting Cuckoo or Kodiak through behind him though, although I think Cuckoo's very close. Yeah, Cuckoo making it side by side. This is for 14th position. Who is going to be the last of the late breakers? Who is going to carry the most apex speed?
They've also got those front runners ahead of them, so they got to watch out and try not to hinder them as well. Cuckoo almost losing it, going to the corner, checking up Fennec indeed.
Absolutely dancing through turn 1. You'd love to see it. Kodiak not out of the picture yet either, still within striking distance. Binding and Captain 4 seconds away from each other in the wooden spoon battle behind. Let's see, Kodiak not quite following the same line into this corner, taking more curb, having a bit more of his presence shown in the mirrors ahead. Let's check up on the race leader. Andrew now with 4 laps left to go, leading the race. He binned the previous race despite leading it. He's under a lot less pressure this time. Eddie, after a tremendous recovery, still behind. He's overtaken Trouble down to 3rd place. JD behind, fighting for his P4 with Jedlin, Mats, and who is that off behind? Is
I
that
think that's Cuckoo.
Yes, it is. Keeps that under control, though, just losing some time. And you can see Warlord now fighting it out with Escher. This is for P12. Sends it down the inside. Final corner. Getting the better exit as well. Just behind, just in front of them, rather. You can see Trouble trying to regain P2 once again. Has the inside line early, down the straight, easy as you like. But this fight is not over yet. Keep your eyes on that Delta as we quickly check up on Mats. You can see it pretty much is now a 4-car fight for P4. That's just up ahead. You can see JD in the purple anime car. Nismo, which one of these 4 do you think is going to make it?
Well, I mean, JD is quite far ahead, but it's whether Jedlin is on the right strategy boost-wise, as Eddie making the move on Trouble. Andrew at this point just has to make sure he keeps it consistent, since he is 2.3 seconds ahead, so pretty much no slipstream or any help from himself to Eddie.
Well, he mainly wants to keep it on a consistent lap-by-lap basis, because if he did it on a consistent race-by-race basis, then he would just spin out of the lead again. As Trouble there having a bit of trouble with his exit. Might be, yeah, he actually has let a back marker through, so that could put a wrench in his fight for P2 with Eddie. Mats, meanwhile, up to P5 side-by-side with Jedlin. Xevious trying to follow them through.
All 3 of them very, very close indeed. Xevious almost on the grass there. Trying it round the outside. Could try and make the switch back, in which I think he does, getting the exit off the corner, getting a better one compared to JD. Gotta hope that he can get into the slipstream of Mats ahead.
Which we're about to see again, I'm sure. Yeah, there we go. Still perfectly side by side. Xevious versus Jedlin. P6 versus P7.
Serious later on the brakes. Keeping
Was
the
that
momentum through the
Fennec
corner.
flying off the track? Yes, it was. Now Matt still has a bit of a gap to the car ahead. I think Cuckoo just taking advantage of Fennec's lawn mowing excursion. You can see Eddie still sees Andrew ahead of him. He's 2 seconds ahead, no slipstream on his car. As Xevious, I think, had a brief overlap with Mats there in the previous corner. JD still holding on to fourth. Under immense pressure now on the final lap of this race. The top three are all pretty much settled, bar any big mistakes.
Around the first corner. Xevious very much planted onto Mats's rear.
Oh, and JD's been in the grass. He's lost a bit of straight line speed.
Don't know if
That's
it's going to be quite enough, but Mats definitely pressing that boost button, getting ever so slightly away from Xevious. As
There's just...
Andrew comes across the line to win race 2 of tonight. Eddie in second, followed by Trouble in P2. JD crossing the line ahead of Matt in P5. Xevious in P6. Jedlin in P7. Burns
Jedlin just losing out a bit there in the end.
in no man's land in P8. This as well in P9. So the back of the field getting very much spread very thin, and I do wonder whether they did in fact end up putting slick compound tyres on. I did see a lot of people pitting.
Yeah, but I think the amount of drivers that pit is probably close to half. So definitely very split on strategy, and it didn't look like the pit stop was really of any kind of good to anyone tonight. You can see not a single driver that didn't pit ended up behind someone who did. So that says a lot about that strategy, except for Arid. He retired on lap 1.
That is very unfortunate. A lot of pit lane speeding penalties, that is for sure. Warlord, Esho, Cuckoo, and Captain all getting pit lane speeding penalties.
Very, very naughty. Also, I'm not sure what this was for, but you've been called based Nismo.
That's probably because I called Andrew's livery S tier.
All right, we do currently have 2 drivers ready for an interview. Make that 3. Who should we pull in first? I think Trouble is a pretty good candidate. Do my best. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Mr. Rage Baited himself has once again used the sheer force of will to crank out a win in the final race.
Very much helped by some terrorism behind me.
Yeah, we did catch that incident. Were there any choice words used in the voice chat?
No, just an apology from Eddie. Apparently he got pull shot from behind into Matt, so not his fault either.
Yeah, that could well end up going to the stewards after tonight. You were leading the first race as well, but you ended up making a mistake that you were not the only one in doing. You span out of the lead. How painful was that?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's just so hard to feel when the car's going on this game. It's like I could only register it with my eyes. Like, I didn't feel it in the wheel, and by the time you see it, it's already too late to catch.
That is exactly how I feel on controller. Thank you. I knew it was the game.
Yeah. It's always the game, man. Always blame the game.
Absolutely. Now, it was still a very strong performance from you. How sure are you of a top 2 position in the championship at this point?
I think it'll still be pretty close. I think top 3 should be in the bag between me, Mats, and Fennec. Fennec had an awful race too, so
Yeah, do you know
Maybe
what caused that? Was it anything to do with the tires or? Actually, no, wait, no, never mind. For Fennec, we saw he crashed into the wall. There were a number of people who pitted without crashing, though. So we wanna ask, what tires were you on for the start of that second race?
dries, slicks.
All right, yeah. That is very, very interesting.
I was going to take wets, which would have been a terrible decision, but X has convinced me to take the slicks. So the credit for that win goes to him.
See, that's the type of teamwork we like to see around here. Do you have any other praise for your teammate over this season? That'll be my final question for tonight.
That's a leading question. Obviously, the delivery he made, which was correctly appraised as S tier by Nismo. One of very few correct opinions on liveries from Nismo.
It's okay if it's an anomaly. I can just change it to be like the other ones.
No, I'll say this, Nismo. You're not as bad as Martin. Martin speaks pure nonsense a lot of the time when it comes to not just when it comes to liveries, but especially when it comes to liveries, I should say.
Oh, I will say, in the past, I felt like my tier lists were a bit more appreciated than Nismo's, but in recent times, it has kind of reversed a bit. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on, Andrew. Hope you enjoy that win.
Yeah, speak to you later.
Have a good one. Next up in the list, we do have, we still have trouble in here. Let's go ahead and pull him in.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Trouble, you fought quite a bit at the sharp end of the field tonight. How was that?
Yeah, good fun. I've not been doing that much in these cars, so it's nice.
Yeah, we did see a lot of people go out in turn 1 in qualifying. Did you have any sort of struggles in that corner?
I think I messed it up once. Most of my issues and not qualifying great was because I kept changing setups and then just repeatedly was like, oh, I need to warm up my tires. But then that only left me 1 lap to do a good lap, and then as soon as someone just pulled out of the way and gave me no slipstream for a whole lap, I was not going to do very well. But yeah, qualifying didn't go well, but after that, all went great.
Yeah, I mean, we saw non-stop battling for many positions in this race, but especially the lead. Especially in race 2 as well, we saw more back markers due to the failed pit stop strategy. Were the back markers any help to you with slipstream, or were they more of a hindrance in the corners?
I don't know. Early in the race, definitely a hindrance. Because I think the thing is, because it was a bit wet, I needed all of the grip I could get. Slipstream was not that big of a deal, especially when we were all so close together. You could get it from the people you're racing. You did not need back markers. So they only really got in the way. But later in the race, I would say some of them were a bit more useful. Because sort of as the gaps got bigger, they could kind of bridge a gap of slipstream and try and help you get a bit closer to those ahead.
Mm-hmm. Now, there was an incident as well that involved Mats getting knocked out of the fight for the lead. Can you tell us what you saw?
So, I saw Yedlin bump the back of Eddie and then Matt spinning off. So I can only assume that Yedlin was late on the brakes and then Eddie went into Matt's. I didn't have a great view, but that's my assumption from what I saw.
It does pretty much match what my really bad, I should add, short-term memory remembers. So I think that is a fairly accurate description for this race. Trouble. How much practice did you put in?
None.
Absolutely none this time.
Literally none. I didn't even join the practice session. I only joined in qualifying.
And
So even sometimes where I get like 2 laps before, I know literally 0 for me.
And so
And he comes home with a podium.
on wet,
Yep.
or did you start on slicks?
No, it's not on 6.
Ah.
That was one thing I realized in quali because it started damp. Frankly, it starting damp in quali helped me quite a bit with figuring out how it would drive at the start of the second race, because it was already in a damp sort of light rain slot when I started. Or obviously it was damp when we started quali, but that meant that I sort of knew that it would that the tires could actually gain temperature and have enough grip to keep up. because that's the thing with last time is it was wet and there was medium rain and the slick tires never got enough heat. Whereas actually,
Yeah,
you could do it even in the wet, and then you could keep up, and then it made quite clear that slicks really were probably going to be better.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking that all the people who started on wets are probably all the ones who ended up in the pit lane because obviously not a whole lot to gain from changing tires. I think those people just pitted for survival.
Yeah, I know Fennec started on wets, and I think what his idea was because there was light rain, he was hoping to get a big enough lead to then be able to switch tires. But
Mhm.
because of how quickly the softs could actually get up to temperature, they were able to get up to temperature before the rain ended. So that's where it really helped the slick runners, because we could go from losing a second a lap in the first few laps, or maybe two, to losing easily less than half a second, even if being slightly slower. And then as soon as it started to dry up, it immediately flipped over and the slicks were faster.
Now, just one quick question before we have to let you go about your teammate. Saw that they got into an incident with Ultimate Kaiser just ahead of you. What do you know what happened there?
I did not see it. There was a few people between us, so well, more than a few, let's say. So yeah, I don't really know what happened. I saw two people going off and hadn't even realized it was Fennec. It was Fennec that actually told me that it was him that had gone off with Kaiser. So
It's been a great talking to you, as is every week, but we'll have to let you go now.
yep. Cheers. Thanks
Yeah,
for
until
streaming.
next week.
Very entertaining.
It's been
No
a pleasure.
problem.
Now, Nisba, before we go on to the next interview, I do want to quickly ask you to update the curse counter. Today we had an additional 4, so that brings our total this season to 11.
Oh my goodness. We're starting to get bad.
So you guys are doing a good job, is what I'm hearing.
Would you like to know who got cursed tonight before we boot you out?
Oh, sure.
All right, and number 1 tonight was the ever so fortunate Keza, followed by JD, Arid, and Eddie was the final curse.
Okay. When was Eddie in the second race?
I cannot remember which of the 2 races that those curses were given in. I think quite a few were in the first race. That's all about
Okay.
all I remember.
I was gonna say, if Eddie managed to get cursed and still get P2, that would have been very impressive.
He did recover to like P3 at some stage from being down in 15th, which was insane. But yeah, you'll have to watch the stream to see how that unfolded.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks for having me, and I'll see you next week. Probably.
Until next
maybe.
time.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.
All right, who is up next? We have Jedlin in there. He was part of the sharp end of the field's fight.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Welcome, Jedlin. That was quite a bit of action in the top 5 that you had today.
Yeah, certainly. Finally, I could fight.
Yeah, how much fun was that? Because we've seen you having some DNF sometimes due to misfortune or maybe some mechanical issues, but tonight you really were out there fighting for most of it.
Yeah, plenty of fun. I always was pretty strong on ovals, if you remember, and that track was very close to oval. You can fight not the track itself, but only other drivers. So I was feeling really well.
Yeah, and of course, with these cars, there's the boost function as well. How much were you holding back your boost strategically, or were you just basically using it as soon as it became available again?
Pretty much as soon as it was available, because you wouldn't use all that boost at all. Maybe at the beginning of the race to avoid chaos, I was a little hesitant to use boost, but that's all.
And then just to confirm as well for race 2 tire choice, did you start on slicks?
Yes, I started on flicks.
Yeah, that does seem to have been the commanding strategy tonight. Now, there was unfortunately an incident as well that ended up taking Mats out of the fight for the lead in that second race. Can you tell us what your perspective is?
Well, I was late on the brakes. I admit, but I didn't feel the heat. At least not before that incident happened. But I can perfectly understand if I was be put at fault because I was already late on the brakes and maybe the car next to me had to avoid Matt. So I wouldn't be too mad if I really will get a penalty. I admit that.
So there might have been a tiny bit of desync involved. We'll have to see if we can find that in the footage. Definitely good to hear your side of the story as well, though. Now, the fact that you did so well on this track, do you think it's mostly due to the shape of the track, or is it the conditions?
The shape of the track. As I mentioned, I really love simple circuits. I think, though, as I mentioned before, you fight only other drivers of the track itself, and it really blurs the skill difference between drivers. On the normal track, I'm pretty confident that Matt or Ultimate or Kaiser or Andrew will steamroll me. But as there was that boost feature, I could keep up with them. I could use that slipstream and keep myself within striking distance.
Yeah, it's absolutely been a good track for racing tonight. If you watch the stream back as well, you'll notice that both races had fights that lasted for the entire duration of the event, all 34 laps. So plenty of action to look back on. How much are you looking forward to the next race? Is my final question for you tonight.
Okay, Salvador, it's a street circuit. I think that MSR never raced on this circuit. I have some experiences from it when I was doing some offline races. I like the fact that it's short and it's street circuit. I always felt really confident on such type of circuits. So who knows? Maybe it will be another good result.
All right, well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that one unfold on next week's stream. Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate it.
Have a good one. We still have 3 people left to interview. Nismo, who do you want to drag in next?
I think Video Gamer Guy was towards the front at one point, starting quite high in race 2. Let's bring him in.
Hello, Video Gamer Guy.
Hello there.
So it was definitely an eventful event tonight. Plenty of overtakes up and down the field. I do notice in that second race where you started in a pretty decent spot that you have done a pit stop. So did you start on wets?
I did. That was very much the wrong choice. Yeah, it got
At
to
what
about,
point did you realize that?
about lap 8. I looked down at my tire indicator after sliding out of a corner and wondered, why are my rear tires orange?
Oh.
I was hoping that the wetness, or the moistness, should I say, would last a little bit longer, maybe till like lap 15 to make it a bit worth it. But no, it didn't last, unfortunately. It's one of those gambles. I enjoyed being at the front while I could.
Yeah, and I mean, you still ended up fighting with one of the most accomplished drivers on the grid. Tell us a bit about your fight with Keza.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Escher that I was battling with. We were sort of opposite laps of boost. So we were trying to pull away from Keza approaching in the rear mirrors. That didn't happen, and he brought Warlord with him, I think, which was interesting. Sort of 4 cars trying to come into the same braking zone in a bit of a damp track. I think Escher or whoever it was and Warlord had a bit of a coming together. And then Kaiser just ran off. I was sort of sticking with him. And this shows how hard and how fast everybody was pushing here. I missed 1 gear change, changed up 1 gear too early, coming out of the final corner. I was in second, went to third, then fourth immediately, then back to third, and then I lost the toe. So
Wow.
One of those, but it's bound to happen, isn't it? So,
I mean, on the bright side, you are the last driver to not get lapped, which is an honor you can only share with Keza. For the people who had to pit. Now, I'm not sure if Keza ended up pitting for tires. I think he did have that crash early on in the race, so definitely some mixed circumstances there. But how much prep did you put into this one? Because we've heard from some drivers that they just showed up, no prep at all. It is a simple track, just 2 or 3 corners.
So I spent about 5 laps getting the tire pressures right in the dry on Friday. I immediately then overwrit that by changing to the wets to try out the wets. So I lost that, gave up on Friday, worked all weekend driving real cars around real tracks,
Oh, hey.
and then got in today. I literally got home from work in the last 40 seconds of qualifying, got into qualifying, which is probably where you saw my 6 second off the pace lap being put in, just to, get used to how a car works.
I was genuinely kind of thinking, like, wait, did he have like some sort of quali ban? Why is he only now setting a time at the very end?
That's because I was pulling up in my car, parking it, running upstairs, ignoring the dog, trying to get some lap in, and hoping I got there for race 1. So race 1 was practice, basically.
So it is confirmed having a life does hinder you in virtual esports racing.
It does indeed. It does indeed.
He was just sat in the wrong car.
Exactly. I was in too many real cars. That's what it was. I should have given them up.
Exactly. No 3D cars in this game. Thank you very much for coming on, Video Gamer Guy. We'll see you again for the next one.
No worries. Thank you very much.
All right. Next up, we have Bernd and Cuckoo. Bernd is streaming, so should we pull in Cuckoo?
Let's bring in Cuckoo.
Welcome, Cuckoo. That was a bit of a rough one tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty far from ideal. Pretty much anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. It's definitely not my best result ever.
So I mean, since you phrased it that way, and since we've done a bit of a tier list tonight, could you give us a tier list of everything that went wrong?
Race 1 was kind of going fine up until about lap 12. And then there was a bit of a kerfuffle with someone rejoining, and then there was cars everywhere, and then me and Bernd were out ahead of that. I was on the inside coming up through the kink at the top of the hill, which is where everything went badly. I didn't want to clip the grass on the inside and potentially destabilize the car, so I didn't turn enough, and I instead crashed into the side of Bernd, which destabilized the car. I could not catch it, and then had a face-to-face meeting with the barrier on the inside, and died of death. And then I had to pit to put a new rear wing on and fix the suspension and everything. I was dead last, and then I just got stuck behind Exus for the rest of the race, and I was just nowhere. There was no one around me. I was just following him around.
Yeah, I think we might have actually caught that incident. It did seem on the more painful side. Can you tell us which tires you started on for race 2?
I made the mistake of starting on the wets, which was not the play, and I regretted my decision very badly. And then I managed to horrendously mess up my braking point on the way into the pits. Did not stop. Blew straight through the pit limiter line, flew off the actual pit entry road, and I was so worried that I was going to end up back on the track at the apex of the final corner, but thankfully I stopped short of it, but picked up a lovely penalty for my efforts there as well. So just all around terribleness, essentially, just really, really quite bad.
Well, next week isn't going to get any more simple, I will unfortunately say. We go from, I think, the most simple track on the calendar to probably the most complicated track on the calendar, El Salvador, next week. How much are you looking forward to that?
I can't get any worse, really, can I?
I mean, it could have been Cleveland.
I think Cleveland's a lot nicer than that. At least you've got a tunnel to play with.
Yeah, I don't think I've driven it before, but I welcome the return of something more complicated, because maybe I'll be able to convince myself that I'm not terrible. So, cause I always seem to be underwhelming on the simpler tracks. I don't understand what it is.
So no Oval League for you in the near future.
Well, you say that, but I did quite well in the last time we did ovals, though. I didn't partake in every race. I only managed to do 3 of them, but every single race I finished 4th that I took part in for that league. So maybe I'm somewhat okay, but yeah, just absolutely terrible night to forget this one was.
Yeah, I hope. I guess my message for you then, as we move on to the final interview, is I hope you have plenty of fond memories from last week's race to look back at. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, it's definitely good to get the podium there, but just we're back to our regularly scheduled programming for this season tonight, because apparently I'm just terrible in these cars. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna go and enjoy some beans.
All right.
That's
Enjoy.
an absolutely legendary way to sign off. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
Cheers. Now for the final interview of the night.
Burned.
Hello.
Welcome, Bernd. You are currently P9 in the standings. How do you feel about that?
I'm pretty good.
And you finished P8 in the second race tonight. How do you feel about that?
B8 might be like my season best result, but I'm not sure. I might have equaled it, but it's pretty good.
And how did you get there? How many fights did you get into tonight?
I mean, I had like a couple of fights in race 1, especially like a pretty long fight with Arad and also with Cuckoo. I'm not sure if you caught like my incident that I had with Cuckoo on stream. But basically after turn 1 in the right-handed kink, there was contact. And I barely held on to it, like I was rotating the wheel left, right, and center, just trying to survive. And that worked out. And in race 2, it was, yeah, like I didn't have the ultimate pace of the front runners, but with keeping it clean and having the right strategy, it worked out okay in the end. So.
Yeah, I think we did catch that contact that you ended up suffering, but it's definitely been a very, very consistent night for you. I mean, I've pointed out it was P8 in race 2. I've just checked the results of race 1, P9 for that, and P9 in the standings. You are on track to stealing Andrew's P8 merchant title.
I'll try.
We'll have to see if he gets jealous or not. Now, I've heard that the next track is significantly more difficult than the one we had tonight. Do you welcome that challenge with open arms, or are you just going to hope to survive?
I mean, it's gonna depend. Like for tonight, to be honest, I didn't really put in any practice, so it worked okay because the track is rather easy.
Mm-hmm.
But like for Salvador, it's gonna be really, really tough. I would predict a couple of safety cars, like 1 at least, per race. Would be my gut feeling. And also, like I'm not sure if you guys caught that even, but in race 1, I think it was, there would have been a safety car if like the person involved that was trying to call it wasn't muted. So.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes.
Oh, who was that?
I'm not sure. Like I don't recognize all the voices.
Because we did have, well, you're definitely not going to recognize a muted voice, but we definitely did catch 1 or 2 incidents that we expected to see a safety car come out of, and to our surprise, none were called. So that was definitely interesting. I hope that we, well, I can't say I hope we get one in the next race, but it's always a bit of extra drama. Now, I had another question, right? Nismo, do you have any bonus questions?
Let me think of one. Hold on, let me look at...
I have like another small insider of like the race. So suddenly someone was saying, "Do I have damage? Do I have damage?" And 5 seconds later, apologizing. Oh, sorry, I thought I was muted. So he was talking to his crew chief.
That's funny. It's a bit of AI assistance right there. Now, Bernd, I remember what I was going to ask you, and that is, we did see some people drifting cars around certain corners. We saw people overshoot turn 1. Others saying that it was very tough to feel when the car was, well, over the edge of the grip. What did you think was the hardest about driving tonight? Because you did say the track was fairly easy.
I would say the last braking zone. It might be because I ran reduced brake pressure, like the same settings that I used all the races previously. But Warlord was running like 100% brake pressure, but as soon as I tried that on the practice server tonight, I just kept locking up everywhere. So I had to reduce it, but I noticed that like 90% of the field was very much braking quite a bit later into that corner. So I would say personally for me that was the most difficult area of the track. And also during the wet conditions at the start of race 2.
Yeah, because you were on slicks, right?
Yes, I was on slicks. Thankfully the right call. I already saw, like, while we were calling out the reverse grid order, that the track state changed from wet to damp. And at that point I knew that my strategy was gonna be pretty much on point.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely given you a clean and consistent record. I hope that we can see even more consistently good results and that you'll be able to take Andrew's P8 Merchant title in the next one. And yeah, I think pretty much all the rest I can say is good luck in next week's event.
Thanks for having me, and I hope Trouble is not scoring so big in the next event then. Because he just widened the gap between us by quite a bit, so let's see.
Yeah, have
hope
a goal.
You also had some fun there.
Absolutely, it was quite nice to see. It was battles that lasted both races long, between the same people even, so definitely plenty to look back on.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, thanks for the stream as always, and have a nice evening, yeah?
Appreciate it, thank you.
Have a great evening.
See you.
Alright, so that does bring us to the end of the interviews. And yeah, what a race. We've had pretty much constant battling for 68 laps straight. If you also include the formation laps, of course. But yeah, some great racing. A little bit of carnage, but no safety car at all, surprisingly. Even some people saying that it should have been called out. So my dismay, that is a very horrifying thing to hear. But but next week I would not be surprised if we do have a safety car pretty much after lap 1. It is El Salvador. MSR haven't officially raced there yet. This will be the first time that MSR officially races there, and it is the tightest street circuit on the calendar. So whether they'll be able to master that next week, we will see. But until next time, guys, it's been great commentating as always, and we will see you in the next one.
Good night, everyone.
And they're off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting amazing start. Ultimate Case actually all catching speed. Napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close to P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Diener all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. fact restarting now regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate K's across the line.
Gilish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.